Hey everybody, Johnny Cage here, welcoming you back to another game review. This time we're taking a look at The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse, developed and published by Capcom, released on November 20th, 1992 for the Super Nintendo. The Magical Quest has you taking on the role of everyone's favorite animated mouse on an adventure across 6 different levels in a fantasy land Mickey has stumbled into while searching for his missing dog Pluto, who was taken by the Emperor Pete. Our quest starts off basic enough, with Mickey able to grab a hold of mouse-eared blocks and vegetables to spin like a top at enemies that might get in your way. You can also send the veggies flying while holding on to gain some altitude and reach some hidden areas. There are also these large golden blocks, which will have goodies for you to grab, usually in the form of coins which grant points at the end of the level, though you do get health and permanent life upgrades out of them sometimes as well. It won't be long before you come across a wizard, whom you'll meet on a few different occasions throughout the game, providing you a bit of narrative before sending you on your way. The rest of level 1 is pretty straightforward. You got some giant tomatoes you can take a ride on. Just be careful not to fall to your death, though the game is very forgiving as you would expect for a Disney Capcom title, featuring endless continues that start you back at the subsection of the level you died in. The next stage is where we really get into the fun of this game, as it begins with the wizard from the previous level granting us a magical turban that allows us to breathe underwater, though this is the only time you'll be using that ability. It also allows you to fire off magical bolts which will become stronger the longer you hold down the Y button, but also consumes more of your magic bar on the bottom right. Good news is that you can replenish it by picking up genie lamps that are scattered about the level. These outfits will be the main gimmick of the game, with the preceding 2 levels featuring a new one that will help you to clear the stage. Level 3 will grant you the Firefighter outfit, which fires a stream of water, quickly dispatching enemies and can be used to push blocks around, as well as extinguish flaming platforms, allowing you to traverse the stage. Next we get the 3rd and final outfit from Goofy, which turns Mickey into a bionic commando, equipping him with a grappling hook which lets you swing across gaps and move vertically more easily. Shame it doesn't work on every platform in the game, however, as in later stages I feel like its value is diminished, and that sort of speaks to exploring in this game in general, which is to say the game encourages it, but it usually isn't worth the effort. The amount of work you have to put in to find somewhat hidden areas never really felt like it was worth the reward to me. The setup, whether it was perfect placement of Mickey or having to position an object in a particular spot, I just couldn't be bothered with, especially since all I usually got in return was coins or points. Also, be careful with the boss here, as the moment it shows up it can blow you right off the stage, and you will need to make sure you aren't standing on the ground when the big bird comes zooming by. The Snowy Valley will put your platforming skills to the test while riding ice sheets, which is actually quite fun and makes it a level you can most likely fly through. The boss here though is a real step up in difficulty compared to the ones we have come across thus far. Figuring out the best time to land a strike on him is quite a pain, and I found that hosing him continuously seemed to work best, though he still hit me quite often. And this level of difficulty continues into the last level of the game as we finally make our way into Emperor Pete's castle, only to find ourselves in a maze. It's not too terrible though, with the only punishment for going the wrong way being a mini boss fight, which have shown up in every level previously anyway, so it shouldn't be much to deal with. Afterwards you just get spit back out the way you came in. This level also includes magic carpets, which are activated by shooting the small icon with the magic turban outfit. There are also plenty of other opportunities to use your other outfits in this stage, which certainly makes it feel like a final challenge. Eventually you'll come across the big baddie himself, whom isn't all that tough. You'll want to shoot him with your magic bolts, but just be careful not to use up all your magic, as the fight becomes very tough if you run out. Just make sure to take down some of these torch enemies to refill it, and you should be fine. You can probably get through this game in about 25 minutes if you rush, as it isn't too challenging to navigate through levels on a very direct route from the start to the end, but it may make it less fulfilling of an experience. There are also different difficulty settings in the options menu, which will start you off with lower health depending on how tough you make it, giving the game some replayability. Mickey controls very well, as you would expect from a Capcom game. B jumps and Y is the action button, which will act differently depending on your outfit. L and R will switch through said outfits, and A confirms the selection. The only control choice I found odd was how you can pick up momentum while going downhill. The game doesn't have a dedicated run button, so you will just start taking off in these portions. It's not a big deal, it's just something to keep in mind. The colors and sprite work here are definitely above average, especially for a somewhat early SNES entry. It is a Disney property after all. Lots of frames of animation as well really help to add to the cartoony presentation and just make it a joy to look at. The music in the game is decent, though it is a bit lacking in variety. Most levels feature a whimsical melody that is fitting of a magical quest, but nothing that's going to resonate with you after you power off the game. These days you can pick up a loose card of this one on eBay for around $20 American. You can also pick it up on the Game Boy Advance if you would like for around $10, with this updated version including Minnie as a playable character. And there's no need to end the magical fun there, as Magical Quest saw 2 sequels, with the Great Circus Mystery also on the SNES, and Magical Quest 3 starring Mickey and Donald on the GBA. When it comes to reviewing Disney Capcom games, you can almost do no wrong, except for a Tailspin. Maybe we'll get to that one day, but most of the time you're going to have a fun, quality experience. This feels like a game I would have really enjoyed playing when I was younger, but sadly never did. Perhaps part of it was that it isn't tied to any of the blockbuster films Disney was cranking out at the time. But now I can say that I've spent a good amount of time with this one, and while I can't say it's one of my favorite Disney games, I can see why it would be to others. The outfit powers really are a lot of fun to play around with, and the magic bar doesn't decrease too rapidly, allowing you to spam the moves a bit without having to worry about them running out. And once you get past the first level, you're probably going to want to stick with those unless you have a strong desire to go back to playing with regular Mickey. My only big issues with the game were the lack of incentivizing the player for exploring and the way that you dealt with enemies, as most of them, including bosses, seemed to take a few too many hits to defeat. At least the bosses did turn pink when they were getting low on health though. I'm going to go ahead and give Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse 8 Fantasias out of 10. It's a great effort, especially for an early Super Nintendo title, but it does leave a bit to be desired in the level design and overall length. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you would like to stay posted on new game reviews as I upload them, please click the subscribe button, as well as checking out the link in the description below for my Twitch channel where I stream most days. I'll talk to you all later on.